Beloved, a tired world has slipped off its shoes and stepped into a quiet room. Not only this hall, but 1,000 living rooms, kitchens where a kettle hums, a hospital bed with a little red light winking, a bench in a night shift corridor. Cities and villages and farms, now they are one circle of listening. We are here because, frankly, the outrage is old, and the blame is heavy, and the ache of being done with it all has pressed against the ribs. We have shouted at the screen, quarreled with the headlines, argued with friends, and at 2 a.m. we have whispered, "I can't carry this anymore." Hear the gentle voice that has never once raised itself above a whisper. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. I speak to the weariness because I know it in the way one knows a winter wind, and I speak to it with the authority of a spring sun. You were never a victim, one life lives you. That is our hook, not to catch you, but to reel in all the scattered fragments of your attention and bring them home. What if freedom is not a rearrangement of furniture on the deck of your circumstance? What if freedom is an identity shift from the personal I who has been bruised to the one I who is the life of God unfolding as you? Be still and know that I am God. I in the midst of you am mighty. Let that be more than a sentence. Let it be the floor we stand on. Now, I must ask you to join me in a promise. We are not going to enjoy a little metaphysical entertainment and then return to the same complaint with a new ribbon on it. We are embarking on a continuous, uninterrupted journey. This is not theory. This is a way of seeing and a way of being, not an escape from the world, but a new center from which the world is seen clearer, kinder, truer. And for that, language becomes our doorway. Not I am strong, not I am spiritual, not I am going to get through this if I try harder. No, God is. God is life. God is love. God is light. God is law. God is the very substance and activity and intelligence of your being. God is omnipresent, so where could trouble be? God is omniscient, so where could confusion stand? God is omnipotent, so what could oppose the one? Not I am healed, but God is wholeness expressing. Not I am safe, but the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. If you ask me what will be different on the other side of these hours together, I tell you plainly. The story of the injured person attempting to heal itself will go quiet, and the Christ within will take the microphone of your daily life without shouting. In the office, where tension has been a regular guest, an uninvited peace will sit down and take the head chair. In traffic, where the heart has been quick to boil, something in you will see every driver as your own, life in another lane. In the kitchen, where criticism has worn a groove, a silent blessing will rise before the words do, and the atmosphere will answer first. Not through declarations, but demonstration. Not by louder affirmations, but by the word becoming flesh in the small scenes that show who lives you. So I say to every home and hospital and hidden corner now included in this quiet room, relax the shoulders of the mind. We are not going to fix a world. We are going to find the world where it lives in the infinite invisible that is the source, the guide, the doer. Lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. Hear it now as a present tense fact in the marrow. I will never leave thee, nor forsake thee. That I is not a distant sky god, not a moral auditor. That I is the life you have called mine, without knowing its name. We will learn to let that I say what it will through us, act as it will through us, be as it is as us. Let the blame go out like a tide leaving the shore. Let the ache fold into a new kind of rest, the Sabbath that does not wait for a calendar but appears when thought stops insisting on being its own savior. Be still. There is our first instruction and our last. We gather weary of blame to discover the inner center where one life lives us. From here we will proceed, not hurried, not delayed, in one unbroken movement, from trance to truth, from personal storm to the calm presence that says without a tremor, I in the midst of you am mighty. Beloved, let us now bring the lamp a little closer and see what has been keeping the ache circling the same track. The greatest difficulty that you are going to have, because it has been the greatest difficulty I have had, is this habit of a personal, bruised eye trying to mend itself with spiritual stickers. Human beings walking around with eyeglasses and rent due on Friday and saying, I am spiritual, I am perfect, I am strong. If you are spiritual and perfect and strong, what are you doing asking for directions to the pharmacy? Do you see the joke we have played on ourselves? We tried to perfume the human with holy words and then wondered why the fragrance faded by Tuesday. That eye that is injured is the very eye we have been dressing up in metaphysical clothing and sending out to fight its own shadow. Now hear me gently and hear me firmly. Not I am strong, but God is the strength of my life. Not I am smart enough to solve this, but God is the light in whom there is no darkness at all. Not I am going to get over this offense if I just try hard, but God is love, and love never faileth. The language of I am wounded, I am offended, I am blocked, that is hypnosis. That is the voice of a center that cannot free itself, because it is the very mask of the sleep. You do not awaken from a dream by having the dream declare, I am awake. I am awake. You awaken because a presence that is not dreaming stirs you and opens your eyes. So we reset the treatment. Instead of saying, I am getting better, we say, God is wholeness, revealing itself as this very life. Instead of I am finding supply, we whisper, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. Instead of I am safe at last, we rest in. God is my refuge and my fortress. God is, God is, God is. And as you let that cadence move from the lips into the marrow, watch what happens. The personal repair shop closes for the night, and the presence that never sleeps takes the case, not by tinkering with effects, but by revealing the cause that is God alone. Our master gave us the pattern so plainly that even a child can follow it, and the adult ego refuses it because it does not flatter. I can of mine own self do nothing, he said. Nothing. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. And lest we make that only about a man in sandals 2,000 years ago, hear it as present instruction. I in the midst of you am mighty. My doctrine is not mine. My life is not mine. The words I speak unto you, I speak not of myself. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. Now close your eyes just for a breath and realize there is something called I that is not the bruised one, not the boasting one, not the frightened fixer. This I is the infinite, invisible presence, the very life of God, individualized without being separated. Let the words form silently. God is the life of me. God is the mind of me. God is the law of me. And there, in that communion, the reactive self dissolves like mist before the sun. When next the cry rises, but I am hurt, Do not sign the confession. Do not polish it with spiritual gloss. Stand still, be still, and know that I am God. Let the infinite invisible announce itself where the complaint was rehearsing its lines. This is not denial of pain. It is denial of a false center as authority. It is the end of the injured actor trying to direct the play. Freedom cannot come from the same personal I that feels injured. It comes as you shift to God, is awareness, and then, without fanfare, the word becomes flesh. Not your will, patching your world, but the Father within, doing the works, and you blessedly resting in the strength of your life that is God. Now, let me bring out the old story that never grows old in its usefulness. A hypnotist comes to town, sits a willing soul on the little chair, and with a soft voice he says, "There is a white poodle on the table," and the audience chuckles until, of course, the subject reaches out, pats the air, recoils, scolds the imaginary creature for shedding. Pretty soon half the room is in the act. Do you see it? I see it. Look at the tail. And now feelings are mixed. Some are delighted, some irritated, some indignant, because that poodle has no business being on a clean table. Only one problem. There is no poodle. When the suggestion is lifted, no one has to chase the dog out. No one prays the poodle into obedience. No one treats the poodle for fleas. The poodle disappears because it never was there, except as belief. This is how victimhood plays its scene in us. A suggestion comes, I am wronged, I am small, I am powerless before the machinery of this world. The feelings rise, the proof piles up, friends bring more evidence, and we pet the poodle while declaring, I am spiritual. Beloved, stop stroking the air and chiding the fur that isn't there. Stop cuddling the victim story and calling it compassion. Not because suffering is to be mocked, no, because the center from which the suffering reports is the very hypnotism. Awake thou that sleepest, and arise from the dead, and Christ shall give thee light. You know the other pictures. In twilight you step back, the rope in the grass hisses like a snake, heart hammering, only to discover with more light that it is a coil of hemp drowsing by the path. From a distance, the railroad tracks meet in a solemn vow of union, and you have all but planned the wedding. Then you walk a little closer, and there are two rails. So it is with the white poodle of victimhood, vivid, upsetting, and unreal in God. Do not argue with it. Do not give it a saucer of milk labeled, I am trying so hard. Do not stand on the platform correcting its breed. It's not a poodle, it's a Bichon, while still living in suggestion. Wake up. How do we awaken? We do not yank ourselves out by willpower. We let in the light that proves there was no snake, no meeting of tracks, no dog. God is the light. God is the only mind. God is omnipresence. And where omnipresence is, what second presence can lodge as a victim self? God is omnipotence. What other power is there to make a slave out of God's own image? Be still and know that I am God. That is not advice for the poodle. That is the end of believing in poodles. I, in the midst of you, am mighty. Hear it, not as a spiritual slogan, but as the voice that breaks the spell. Let me be practical and a little mischievous to save you some time. Stop making a lap for the white poodle while announcing, I am doing my work. Stop posting pictures of your poodle on the mantle with the caption, overcoming. Instead, turn quietly, inwardly. Father, reveal thyself. Show me thyself as the only life I am. And then wait one sacred breath. Do not reach out to swat an appearance. Let the infinite invisible withdraw the belief. Just as no one had to fix the table once the suggestion lifted, you will find there is nothing to fix in the truth of your being. The herd that screamed for justice is replaced by a presence that is justice, a love that never faileth, an integrity that does not need vindication because it is the very nature of God expressing. If you must speak, let the words be this: not I am safe, but the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Not I am courageous, but God is my refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. God is, God is, God is. And as you rest there, humor returns, clarity returns, and with them, the simple sanity of seeing. There never was a white poodle on the table of God. Having seen that, stroking the poodle keeps the trance alive. We turn now to the bit in the mouth of the horse, our language. The tongue steers the heart steers the atmosphere, and the atmosphere becomes the scene you call your day. So we shift the words, not as magic syllables, but as a doorway to reality. Not I am this, I am that, not I am going to show them, not I am fixing myself, but God is. God is immortal, God is omnipresence, God is omniscience, God is omnipotence, God is the life of all life. God is the substance of form and the law of unfolding. God is. God is. God is until the mind that has been buzzing like a fly at the window pane settles, quiets, and lets the breeze of the Spirit through. Do you hear the correction in Mercy's voice? Not I am wealthy, but the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. Not I am healthy, but God is wholeness expressing his being. Not I must make it happen, but God is the substance and activity of being. Not I must defend myself, but God is my refuge and my fortress. In him will I trust. This is not rhetoric, this is surgery. We are removing from the center of language the little pronoun that has been trying to run a universe it did not create. I can of mine own self do nothing, said the Master. Then he added the secret. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. Hear it now, present tense. I in the midst of you am mighty. Now close your eyes and realize with me. There is an I within that is not boastful and not bruised. It is the infinite invisible, the one that was before Abraham was, the presence that whispers, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Let the words form without strain. God is the mind of me. Therefore, clarity is not achieved. It is revealed. God is the life of me. Therefore, vitality is not pumped up. It is present. God is the law of me. Therefore, order is not enforced. It unfolds. God is the love of me. Therefore, safety is not a fence. It is an atmosphere. Be still and know that I am God. Leave the I am slogans of the personal self at the door. Come in and say what is true of God and watch it be true of you, because I and the Father are one. Supply then ceases to be a scramble and becomes a recognition. Not I must hustle, but God is the source and flow, the bread from heaven and the water from the rock. Your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask. Ask how? Not by pleading, but by acknowledging. Father, thou art the fullness. The earth is the Lord's. The ideas, the opportunities, the right relations, the doors no man can shut. The visible channels will appear because the invisible source is already here. Protection ceases to be a wall of fear and becomes a temple not made with hands. Not I must brace, argue, threaten, but God is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? God is my strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and is safe. Is the steel plate the protection? Or is the word of God the protection? Stand still. Let the language stand still in God. Lo, I am with you always is not a travel itinerary. It is the atmosphere of your being. And now, a brief litany. Let it wash the mind and make a new bed for thought to lie down in. God is life, indestructible, indivisible, unaging. God is love, impartial, unfailing, without opposite. God is law, harmonious, self-enforcing, self-revealing. God is light in whom is no darkness at all. God is substance, the very isness of what appears, and the essence of what has not yet appeared. God is wisdom, the only mind, the one intelligence that knows the way. God is present, so there is no absence to fear, no separation to mend. God is, God is, God is. When you rise from this chair and words come to the tongue, listen. If the sentence begins with a self, trying to get, trying to guard, trying to prove, let it die before it finds breath. Replace it calmly with what is eternally true of God. And then watch without strain, without hurry, the trance of the wounded center melt, and the Christ within take the sentence and make it flesh. Not I am, but God is, and in that language your freedom is already speaking. Now let us let the words grow soft and the ear turn inward. Close your eyes and realize there is something called I, quiet, alive, nearer than breath, deeper than thought, not a self you furnish with adjectives, but a presence that furnishes you with being. Do not reach for it as if it were far. Do not push at it as if it was shy. The kingdom of God is within you. Be still and know that I am God. Let the shoulders of the mind drop and feel, not emotion, not sensation, feel awareness itself. There, beneath the arguments and the ache, I, in the midst of you, am mighty. Listen, and let the listening be your prayer. Lo, I am with you unto the end of the world. I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Fear not. I am the first and the last. I am the life that I am living as you. I am thy wisdom when words are needed, and thy silence when no words are needed. I am thy bread and thy water. I am thy going out and thy coming in. I am thy fortress and thy song in the night. I am that I am, and I am here. Let those words speak themselves inside until they are not quotes on a page, but a river running through your ribs. Abide in me, and I in you is not a sentiment. It is an instruction that carries its own power to fulfill itself. This touch between your awareness and this presence is holy. This is the Holy Ghost. Do not make a doctrine of it. Make a place for it. It is not your mind thinking about God. It is God revealing God as the very life you are. It is the Spirit that quickeneth. The flesh profiteth nothing. This Spirit is the doer, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. When this I is consciously acknowledged, it begins to act without fanfare, to interpret without your strain, to arrange what seems external by revealing what is eternally internal. Thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. The secret is not secrecy. The secret is communion. Now watch the transfer of reliance that sets you free. You have been living by outer reactions. An email arrives and you combust. A face frowns and you are drafted into battle. A bill comes due and you strap on the harness of anxiety. Not so now. Pause one sacred breath and realize, I am here. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Do not argue with the letter. Do not explain yourself to the frown. Do not whip the mind to pull tomorrow's wagon. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. The presence, once acknowledged, acts. It quiets an atmosphere before a sentence is spoken. It provides a word in season that is not clever but clean. It opens a channel for supply because the source is recognized. It deflects danger not with bravado, but with a law that says, no weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, because there is no place for it in the one. Make this your habit. Before coffee, before headlines, before telling anyone who you think you are, slip into the inner room and make your contact. 60 seconds of realized presence is not a small thing. It is the infinite invisible, tipping the day from fret to Sabbath. Set little bells in your day doorways, red lights. The moment your hand touches a doorknob, each a cue to stop and know, I am here. Mid-meeting, let your eyes be open and your heart closed to distraction. I will never leave thee. In the parking lot with the rain coming sideways, whisper without lips, lo, I am with you always. You are not trying to convince a sky. You are letting the indwelling I be what it already is. Not forcing outcomes, but witnessing the one who is the outcome and the way. And if you say, I forget, I say gently, be content to remember again. The Father within is patient. The shepherd is not annoyed with the sheep that looks up often. Each remembrance is a fresh creation. Each minute of contact changes the weather of a day because the sun is acknowledged. God is presence, so there is no absence to fear. God is wisdom, so there is no confusion to fix. God is love, so there is no enemy to manage. Now rest in that. Let the arguments fall back into silence, and let the silence be full. The inner communion is not an intermission. It is the mainspring. I, in the midst of you, am mighty. Make your daily contact with me, and reactivity will give way to a presence that acts, that heals by being, that supplies by revealing, that guards by simply being. All my peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Receive it here, carry it without carrying it, and watch the word you have welcomed begin to live you. Beloved, here is the turning of the key. What begins as a quiet contact ripens into an identity shift. Not a person improved, not a temperament polished, not the bruised one becoming a braver bruised one, but Christ revealed as the very life you are. It is no longer I that live, but Christ liveth in me. Hear that not as poetry, but as a report from the after state. The center changes. The axis is moved. I and the Father are one life. Not two beings negotiating a treaty, but one life, seen as many faces, one light breaking itself on the facets of individuality without ceasing to be one Sunday. When this dawns, language follows it home. Not I am harmonious, but God is harmony, expressing as this being. Not I am loving if treated well, but God is love, and love remains itself no matter the weather. God is life indivisible, undiminished. God is wisdom present, immediate, exact. God is law self-fulfilling, self-enforcing. God is Goddess. And because God is the only isness, the victim self has nowhere to plant its little feet. I can of mine own self do nothing, said the Master. And then, with the unembarrassed certainty of truth, the Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. When one life is the doer, the old reporter of grievances discovers there is no desk left in the newsroom. This is what it means to die daily. We are not talking about funerals. We are speaking of spiritual regeneration. Let the false center fall away, not by violence, not by moral heroics, but by rising into what already is. Whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it. Lose what life? The life story of I am hurt, I am owed, I am trying. Put off the old man with his deeds. Put on the new man, which after God is created in righteousness and true holiness. As the light comes on, the snake in the rope vanishes. As the hypnotic word is lifted, the white poodle finds no lap. As Christ consciousness announces itself, the injured actor exits, not shamed, but retired. Now let me correct a mistake that has masqueraded as humility. Resting in the source is not passivity, it is authority. Quiet is not collapse, it is command without noise. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, and then you will know when to move, and how, and with what word or with none. The Father within does not produce statues. He animates deeds with wisdom. There will be calls to make, and you will find them already made in spirit and merely dialed by your fingers. There will be words to speak, and you will hear. It shall be given you in that same hour what ye shall speak. There will be doors to shut and doors to open, and the hand on the knob will feel like yours while the guidance is unmistakably the one. Not apathy, but my sheep hear my voice, and they step lightly because the shepherd is out ahead. How will you know this is not imagination? Demonstration replaces assertion. You will not need to say, I am harmonious. Harmony will be the weather of your house. You will not need to defend your worth. Integrity will precede you into the room like a quiet fragrance. In the meeting that used to fray your nerves, tempers cool before explanations are attempted. In the kitchen, an old grievance rises and dissolves before it becomes a sentence, and an apology arrives in another mouth without you campaigning for it. In the body, tension that required managing releases because order has taken the seat of management. The fruit of the Spirit appears on branches you did not tape to the tree. Love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance, because the root is no longer a self-trying. It is the life of God being itself as you. So die daily and rise hourly. Let the prayer be this simple. Father, live thy life as me, and hear the answering. Voice within, gentle and sure. I am thy life. I in the midst of thee am mighty. Be still and know that I am God. Then watch as the center holds, not by your strain, but by my nature. One life lives you. One intelligence thinks you. One love loves through you. And where could a victim stand in the allness of that? Beloved, now we let the river that has filled its banks spill into the fields. If one life lives you, it lives your neighbor. If the Father within doeth the works in you, he is not unemployed across the street. Here is where we cease blaming persons, cease wrestling with powers, and begin seeing the one life where a troubled mask appears. Judge not, that ye be not judged. This is not a scolding. It is instruction in sight. Do not fasten error to a name tag. Hypnotism loves a scapegoat. Spirit sees through the costume and calls the name behind the name, Christ. The practice is simple. It is not dramatic. 3 steps, and none of them a speech. First, pause. A breath, be still, and know that I am God. Don't answer the email on the first heat. Don't rehearse your cleverness. Pause. Second, realize quietly. like slipping a letter into the inner post. God is the life of this one. God is the mind of this one. God is the love of this one. Not I am fixing them. Not I am sending them energy. God is present here as their very being. Third, rest in the word. I in the midst of you am mighty. Let that be true for you and for them, without telling them you did a thing. Thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. Do it in public. On the street, the driver cuts in. Your jaw remembers its old sermon. Pause. God is the life of that one. I in the midst am mighty. At the shop, the clerk's eyes are stormy. The line is long. The herd mind murmurs. Pause. God is the mind of this one. I in the midst am mighty. On the glowing screen, a face you have learned to fear or despise makes its case. Refuse the white poodle's invitation to pet grievance. Pause. God is the life here. God is the law here. I in the midst am mighty. Move on. No superiority, no halo polishing. Bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you. Does not mean patting error. It means beholding the Christ where suggestion paints a target. You will ask, what of the hard cases, the one who wronged me, the one whose cruelty is a headline in my brain? Here we are most tempted to feed the poodle and call it justice. Beloved, do not agree with thine adversary. Agree with God. Refuse to start with a mask. Start with a life. Not I am forgiving you if you earn it. God is love here, and love never faileth. Not I am ignoring harm. God is law, self-enforcing, and he will reveal the right word and the right boundary without bile. Vengeance is mine. I will repay, saith the Lord, is not a threat. It is a release of personal heat into divine order. Beholding Christ in them does not decorate error. It deprives error of a host. If you catch the mind trying to narrate a blessing, I now project rays of my elevated understanding upon you. Laugh kindly and stop. That is still the little self with a wand. Not I am radiant. God is light, and in him is no darkness at all. Not I fix, I heal, I guide. The Father within doeth the works. Your part is vision, not violence. Recognition, not manipulation. Speak the word only, and often the word is an inner hush in which the word speaks itself. Now watch what happens. Atmospheres soften before explanations are attempted. The tense meeting takes a turn as a sentence appears in another mouth you did not script. The clerk's eyes lift and remember their own kindness. The driver you had condemned becomes a person with a story, and your chest stops thundering. You are kept in peace, not because you won, but because your mind is stayed on thee. Solutions appear that neither side could invent. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Do you see? You are not making peace by compromise. You are revealing the one who is peace. Make this frequent, quiet, and anonymous at the crosswalk, in the elevator, through the glass of a phone and the memory of someone long gone. Pause. God is the life of this one. I in the midst am mighty. As ye have done it unto one of the least of these, ye have done it unto me, because there is only me. God is presence, so there is no absence to fear in them or in you. God is wisdom, so there is no confusion to blame. God is love, so there is no enemy to keep alive by rehearsal. Practice it without ceremony, and you will discover that silent blessing is not a courtesy, it is sight. It reveals the one life in others and frees you from blaming. And in that freedom you hear again the gentle vow, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. My peace I give unto you. Carry it, and you will find it has been carrying you and them all along. Beloved, having learned to see the one life where faces appear, we must settle the deeper question of safety and provision, because the old self keeps looking for fences to lean on and accounts to count. Is the steel plate the protection, or is the word of God the protection? Is it the wall, the lock, the policy? Or is it, I am a fortress and a shelter. I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. This is not romance. It is reliance. Our reliance, you see, is in the infinite, invisible, not in anything that's visible. The invisible then selects and uses the visible as it will, but do not swap the source for the instrument. Stand now with Moses at the rim of the sea, behind the noise of chariots, before water lifting like a dare. The instruction was not hurry, calculate, but stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Reliance first, then motion. The sea did not part because a man shouted. It opened because presence was acknowledged. Then came the word, go forward, and the feet moved, but they stepped in a way that made no sense a moment earlier. So with us, before the email is answered, before the defense is mounted, before the loan application is sent, stand still, realize, I in the midst of you am mighty. Let the sea be the sea, the chariots be chariots, and find your feet moved by a wisdom not born of panic. Provision lives by the same law. In a wilderness without ovens, manna appears as morning kindness. You gather enough for the day, and hoarding spoils the lesson. Water answers thirst from an impossible rock, and the staff that strikes is not magic. It is obedience to the invisible. Not I must hustle, but God is the substance and flow. Not I am wealthy, but the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. Your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask. Ask how? By acknowledging the source. Father, thou art the fullness. Show thyself as form where form is required. Then the channel will appear, a phone call, a position, a client, a neighbor's kindness, an idea at dawn, and you will bless the channel without bowing to it, for your bow is within. And what of justice and redress? Do not look to judges or princes first. Put not your trust in princes, nor in the Son of Man, in whom there is no help. Look within until the step to take is shown. Not I will teach them a lesson, but God is law, self-enforcing, self-revealing. Vengeance is mine. I will repay, saith the Lord. Is not cruelty, it is order. In that stillness, the word or the witness you ought to be is given. The filing you ought to make or not make. The boundary to set without bile. Then, when you stand before the bench or the board, it will be said of you, a quietness entered the room, and outcomes will bear the mark of equity rather than the bruise of revenge. Now, do not mistake practicality for apostasy. The infinite invisible may send you to a doctor, an attorney, a locksmith, a marketplace. Go gladly, but go as one escorted, not as one abandoned. The servant is not the master. Thank the instrument. Trust the source. Some trust in chariots, and some in horses. We will remember the name of the Lord our God. God is presence, so there is no absence to fear. God is wisdom, so there is no confusion to solve alone. God is love, so there is no enemy with independent power. God is law, so there is no lawlessness that can stand in the one. Stand still long enough to know this. Then walk, and you will discover that the path appears beneath your feet as you move, not because you made a road, but because the Word made flesh walks as you. Lo, I am with you always. This is your protection and your supply, and it never runs out. Now let us bring this down off the mountain and onto your street, because the word that does not become flesh merely becomes noise. By their fruits ye shall know them, not by their decibels. Demonstration is not fireworks. It is weather. It is the hush in a room that used to bristle. It is a door that opens without you leaning your shoulder against it. So we do not make louder affirmations. We make quieter contacts. Not I promise the moon, but God is present. God is order. God is peace. And then we watch the poodle of appearance trot itself out of the scene for lack of petting. Walk with me into the workplace. A slight lands in the meeting, a colleague cuts you off, takes credit, or lets a barb fly that your old self would season and serve back hotter. Pause. Before the tongue votes, be still and know that I am God. Realize calmly, God is the law of harmony here. God is the mind of each one in this room. I, in the midst of you, am mighty. Without making a show, bless the colleague. God is the life of that one. Then speak only if love gives a sentence. And if none is given, let silence be your credibility. Watch what happens. The room, which was about to become a kennel for the white poodle of offense, forgets there was a leash. Someone else corrects the record without your campaign. Or the colleague circles back after and says, I overstated. Even if no apology comes, an odd thing occurs. You are free before the outcome, and because you are free, the atmosphere bows to order. Home now, where rehearsed roles are hardest to unlearn. The old quarrel lifts its head at the table, or on the phone with a parent, or over a sink of dishes. Withdraw judgment gently, inwardly. God is the life of each one at this table. God is the mind, the love, the law here. One life appears as many faces, but remains one. Wait inside a breath. Speak only what love gives, even if it is a short sentence or no sentence. If a boundary must be set, let it be clean, not edged with poison. God is law, self-enforcing. I do not need bile to make order. See how a temperature drops. Words that used to escalate evaporate. An apology appears in a mouth that never volunteers them, or a practical next step emerges that neither side could invent. A soft answer turneth away wrath, but this softness is not sugar, it is the weight of presence. The envelope on the counter, the email with numbers that do not charm money fear tightens the chest and orders you to hustle your peace away. Not I must scramble. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. Your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask. Ask by acknowledging, Father, thou art the fullness. Reveal thyself as form. Be still long enough to let the next right step surface an idea at dawn, a conversation you had not thought to have, a needless expense shown up for what it is, a channel you could not have forced with a battering ram. Then move, but move escorted. The provision appears as channel, and you bless the channel without bowing to it. The fruit? Peace before the deposit, wisdom in the spending, and provision that seems to have been on its way for months while you were learning Sabbath. Now the screen flashes with outrage. A world's worth of poodles barks at once. Do not join the chorus. Do not anesthetize your heart. Sanctify it. Bathe the scene. God is present. God is wisdom. God is peace. God is law. He maketh wars to cease unto the end of the earth. Hold leaders and victims and perpetrators alike in the same light, not to excuse, but to remove errors, host. Then listen. If you are to write, to give, to vote, to shelter, do it as one moved, not as one whipped. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. The fruit is that your conversation sows light, not heat. Your action lands clean. Fear does not ride in your bloodstream, masquerading as virtue. How shall we measure? By their fruits ye shall know them. Measure by a quieter heart, where storms used to have tenancy. Measure by words that arrive as though hand-delivered, right-sized and on time. Measure by doors that open without shoulder strain and by doors that stay closed without resentment. Measure by the colleague who remembers truth without your memo, the child who laughs sooner, the bill that meets its answer, the headline that no longer kidnaps your day. And if nothing yet has moved outwardly, measure by this: the poodle is not on your lap, and the Christ is in your midst. God is present, so there is no absence to fear. God is wisdom, so there is no confusion to conquer. God is peace, so there is no storm with independent power. I in the midst of you am mighty. Let the proof be changed atmospheres and right outcomes, not louder affirmations. Be still. Do the one thing the Father shows, and let the Word, not the self, do the works. Beloved, the nerves of the age are frayed. We have opinion exhaustion, scrolling our thumbs into a trance. We have doomscrolling like a midnight liturgy. We have moral fatigue from carrying 10,000 judgments on a back built for one yoke only. The feed says react. The headline says choose sides before breakfast. The white poodle barks from every glowing rectangle and demands petting in the form of outrage and weariness. Hear instead the ancient voice that speaks as fresh as your next breath. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Not entertainment, not distraction, not a nap that wakes to the same fever, but rest. I, in the midst of you, am mighty. The rest is not outside your skin. It is the presence that never tires of being what it is. Die daily to the persona that must react. That one is a hypnotic construct, well-intentioned, over-caffeinated, always on call for the next emergency that the next emergency will replace. Lay it down without ceremony. Whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it. Lose what life? The identity that keeps saying, I must weigh in. I must monitor. I must hold the world together by watching it unravel. Be reborn, not into indifference, but into beholding presence without strain, care without combustion. Not I must react, but God is presence here. God is law here. God is love here. My yoke is easy and my burden is light is not a slogan for the wall. It is the nature of the indwelling I living as you. Look to me. Look to me. Look within. Practice Sabbath as a rhythm within, not as a holiday you can't afford or a rule you break with guilt. The Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath. Let it be moments more than marathons short, frequent pauses that salt the day. Each time the finger reaches for the screen to find the next alarm, let the heart reach first for the eye within. Be still and know that I am God. A red light, a kettle rising, a browser loading. The space before you answer each is a temple door. In that breath, realize simply God is presence, God is wisdom, God is peace. I in the midst of you am mighty. The infinite invisible is rest itself. The visible will organize around that rest. This is the rest wherewith ye may cause the weary to rest. Do not try to hold still. Be held. Look to me. Look to me. Look within. You will see quickly that Sabbath is contagious. One resting consciousness is like yeast, quiet, invisible, and it leavens the whole lump. Jesus asleep in the boat is not negligence. It is the poise from which peace be still stills the sea. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. And when one mind is stayed, a household remembers how to breathe. The children stop catching your fear like a cold. The team meeting, pre-wired to spark, forgets its tinder. A room that was a kennel for competing poodles becomes a pasture. Same people, different weather. You did not deliver a lecture. You entered a rest, and rest became the atmosphere. My presence shall go with thee, and I will give thee rest. And that presence does not travel alone. It carries the room. Watch how joy returns, not giddy, not manic, not a mood swing you must protect from Thursdays, but a steady gladness that does not need a reason because it is a nature. The joy of the Lord is your strength. Strength, not noise. Laughter that does not deny sorrow but deprives sorrow of rain. You will find yourself humming tasks that used to groan. You will lay your head at night without the courtroom of the mind reopening for after-hours litigation. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. Waiting here is not delay. It is consent to be lived. So let us integrate. Name the weariness when it presents itself. The poodle seeks a lap, but do not pet it. Die daily to the reporter self. Rise hourly to the beholder. Set your Sabbath bells in the day and answer them, look to me. Look to me. Look within. Not I am rested if conditions improve, but God is rest, and God is here. God is present, so there is no absence to fear. God is wisdom, so there is no confusion to outrun. God is peace, so there is no storm with private power. And the gentle voice will seal it in you. I will never leave thee, nor forsake thee. I, in the midst of you, am mighty. Rest there, and you will find that what used to drain you now meets a stillness that becomes quiet strength. And from that strength, your life moves not whipped, but winged, not exhausted, but escorted, not reactive, but radiant with the Sabbath that has found its home in you. Beloved, this is the hour to name what has been happening among us. Courtship gives way to covenant. The quiet contact ripens into a mystical wedding. You are married to Christ, not as a sentiment, not as an ornament for the wall, but as a life. I and the Father are one. And in this oneness, the word does not linger in the clouds. It becomes flesh as your conduct, your timing, your tone. The pause before you speak is no longer restraint. It is a sanctuary. The sentence that comes is not performance. It is presence. I can of mine own self do nothing. And of course you need do nothing alone. For the Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. The union is not mystical fog. It is the straightest line from heaven to how you hold a meeting, pay a bill, answer a child, and walk a street. Now, a marriage lives by practices more than promises. Make a rule of life not to impress God, but to remember God. Mourning, before the world asks you to be 10 people, be still and know that I am God. Realize, simply and surely, God is presence, God is wisdom, God is love. I, in the midst of me, am mighty. Noon, in the middle of motion, a breath Sabbath. Look to me, look to me. Look within. Evening. Lay the day down on the altar with gratitude, not inspection. I will never leave thee nor forsake thee, tucks you in better than your plans. Between these bells, let continual silent blessing flow. Crosswalk, elevator, conference call. God is the life of this one. God is the mind of this one. I in the midst am mighty. And once each week, fast from opinions. Not I must weigh in, but God is law and light here. Observe the tongue. Let the heart refrain. Give the mind a Sabbath from verdicts. You will discover that in silence, charity grows, and in charity, clarity. Let scripture become more than verses you carry. Let it carry you. Here, I will never leave thee as the living voice within your own breath. Let it interrupt panic and finish your sentences. Here I in the midst of you am mighty, not as a slogan, but as the felt center around which the day arranges itself. Here my peace I give unto you. And notice how peace takes your hand before understanding catches up. The word will speak you if you will stop trying to speak over it. Not I am peaceful if they behave, but God is peace, and God is here. Not I will figure it out, but God is wisdom, immediate and exact. And let there be the seal, the before and after made plain without trumpet. Before, I am a victim, I am owed, I must guard my small fire. After, God is the life that lives me. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. I can do all things through the one who strengthens me. Do not boast. Witness, the fruit is your affidavit. You will not need to announce your wedding ring. Patience will shine where argument used to take the floor. Integrity will cross the threshold before you do. The old reporter self-retires. The beholder abides. Share the way, gently, simply, without debate. Demonstrate. Do not argue. Let peace advertise itself. By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if ye have love one to another. When someone asks for your hope, give it with meekness, 2 or 3 sentences born of your practice. Not a library thrown like a net. Invite them to a pause, not a quarrel. Show them how to bless in secret. Tell them how the room forgot to fight. The poodle knows how to bark. It does not know what to do with a pasture. Your poise is a pasture. So I send you married to Christ, in public and in private, the same weather, in the office and in the kitchen, on the train and on the screen. Live the God as awareness until the word lives you. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Then go forward when the inner nod comes. Die daily to the reporter. Rise hourly as the beholder. If the barkers gather, withhold the lap. Look to me. Look to me. Look within. Lo, I am with you always. I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. I in the midst of you am mighty. Go now, and let the infinite invisible take your name, your hands, your calendar, your tone, until those who meet you taste something they cannot explain and call it peace.